Hey on the bloody LA blokes and shields, I'm Braden and this is Scal Australia. Welcome back. Now, I know that I haven't put up a video in a long time and it's just situations that have happened in my personal life that have slowed me from doing that. But hopefully from now I can smash them out. I've got a few videos lined up for you for the future, so let's get to it. Get this one done and get the next ones done. Alright, you may remember my deadbolt. I haven't used it for a while. I pulled the wheels off of it so I could put them on my MN82 and give it a go, show you how it works. I've pulled the tyres back off the MN82, put them back on the stamped steel beadlocks wheels from Enduro, and we're going to put them back on this. But first, I need to address something here. I snapped, if you could probably see, I've stripped that side of my steering servo out, and I've also broken one of the front axles there as well. I've got it jammed in in my indoor track and it just broke everything. So we've got a new steering servo from OGRC. I don't know much about them, but we're going to chuck it on there and give it a go. I might put on the specs for you up on the screen now for you. And I've also got front axle to chuck in it as well. These are just cheap ones I brought off of eBay. I don't know if I'll find a link for this, but I'll put the link for the steering servo down in the description. And I have a rear axle too. I'm not sure whether I'll need to use this, but I may put it on, just see. I think I might pull both axles apart completely, clean them out and give them some more. I've got silicone grease. I use this. It does the trick. I don't know whether it's what you're meant to be using, but it does work for me. It's excellent water resistance, prevents sticking and binding, and non-toxing and non-aging. So that's exactly what you want for in your diffs. Alright, time to get it apart. Pull these axles apart, get them clean, put them back together, and then we'll change out the steering servo and give it a run on the indoor course, see how it goes. Alright, there's only one way to do this, and that's just to get into it. I think I might start with the back axle because it's going to be the easier one to do, and then we'll move to the front and I'll do the steering servo while I'm there. Alright, rear shaft off. Time to undo it. Clean it out. I might put these axles back in. I don't think they're bent, so that's good. That is looking pretty clean in there. Not very much grease in there, so I'll repack it, give it a clean, repack it, and then put it back together. Still blows my mind that those two screws on the end are the only things holding that bearing in. Doesn't even look like they do. All my bearings are looking pretty good. Don't know whether you can see that, but this bearing is starting to rust, which is the reason why you need grease in these things, because if that bearing goes much more, it will seize up. They're not very strong at all, these bearings. Alright, now to clean it, I don't have paper towels, so I'm just going to use some toilet paper. Just give it a quick clean. Get all the yucky crap off of it. Alright, not the cleanest, but I'm not too worried about it. It was pretty clean for a start, so... Righto, so I've got this stuff here and I've just squeezed it into a little bag. Just make it easier application. I've cut the corner out and you squeeze it out through the corner like that, just makes it a lot easier to apply it. Squirt some in there, in the ends, apply it on the worm gear. Make sure you get some around your bearings too. Put all that back in there, and then your axle shafts. Now make sure you're using Loctite when you're doing everything up, or else it will come undone. If it's going into metal, if your screw is going into metal, make sure you use Loctite. Blue Loctite's the best. Don't use the red stuff because it's actually supposed to be permanent. Right, once your screws are in the end, just apply a tad more. Make sure that there's plenty in there. I've put one in there without thread lock just to hold it, and then I'm going to thread lock the other ones, put them in, and then I can pull that one back out and thread lock it. I'm going to scrap what I said about these not seating properly. This seems to be doing a lot better now since time's gone on. Unless it's just the front one, I'm not too sure. Don't forget this plate here to bolt your links onto. Now technically that is bolting into plastic, so I don't have to thread lock it, but I'm going to anyways. All put together, make sure it moves freely, which it does. Let's put it back onto the car and move on to the front one. Alright, that screw does not want to go in there, so I've Loctited it, pulled her out, put it back in too many times. That's where these screw kits come in handy. Might replace the ball on the end of this too, because I'd say that is what's full of Loctite. Just make sure you've got the movement in it still. Alright, not sure what's going on here. None of these screws seem to want to fit through any of these balls. Alright, gonna replace this ball because for some reason it just doesn't seem to be wanting to go through the old screw and old ball, so new ball. Screw goes through still. That's exactly what I want. Arc and spot on, isn't it good when things work out? Just need to do my shocks up and then we can move on to the front. Make sure you use your Loctite. There it is, all done. Let's move on to the front, eh? It's starting to get a bit late in the afternoon, so I'll have to see how I go about giving it a run today, but definitely tomorrow. Alright, open her up. There's my front axle out, ready to go. Put this aside. Righto, time to just start fully stripping it. Steering servo off. I'm thinking I should be able to keep my knuckles and everything all together. I might just try and undo them here and then pull them off while they're still attached to the steering links. Bearings still looking all good, make sure they stay in there. This servo tray needs to come off and go because the OGRC servo comes with a adjustable servo mount. Alright, this one is a lot wetter but also a lot dirtier, so I'm gonna have to give this one a bit extra of a clean, I think. Righto, got it cleaned up a little bit. Time to throw this new axle in, I think. This is exactly the same as the one I've just pulled out of it. Like I said, something cheap off of eBay a long time ago. Righto, same deal with the rear one as of this one. Just be generous with the grease. Alright, I like to squeeze just the tiniest bit in between these bearings here. You don't want to overfill that section because you'll just make a mess. Again, make sure you use Loctite, doing everything up. Can't stress it enough, the amount of times I've had something just rattle out on me and fall off just because I didn't Loctite it. Alright, from here we've got to grab the steering servo out that comes with this OGRC servo. So in the pack it come with, this cost me around about 70 Australian dollars. It comes with the steering servo itself, steering horn, a couple of screws there for the steering horn, plastic steering horns, and it also comes with the adjustable servo mount as well, which is key. Righto, if you can see the difference here, there's the bottom. It's a lot heavier than what this one is. This is only an alloy servo, this one's brass obviously. Looks good. Righto, this is the adjustable part of them. They obviously bolt onto the side there like that, forwards or backwards, however far you need it for your servo. Alright, now time to work out how to put it together. It didn't come with any instructions, so it's all up to me, I suppose. This first section's simple enough, just screw it in where you would any other servo mount. Now I've got the mount on, time to work out. I might put my knuckles on first actually, and then I can work out whereabouts it needs to be sitting. Alright, when you've done your knuckles up, just make sure that you got free movement here. You don't want that being too tight to the point where it's jamming everything up and burning out your servo. Probably not the reason why my Emax servos were burning out. I do have a lot of weight on this for just a little old Emax servo. This might be the third or fourth Emax servo I've put in there, which they are good servos, but once you start putting this much weight on your car, it does struggle regardless of how well you've put it together, you know what I mean? So that's why I have gone and brought an upgraded servo for it. Might bolt it up as far forward as I can. I don't think I'm going to have any problems with clearance because of how much I've chopped out of my body, so I might bolt it as far forward as I can and see how that goes with it. They've got all the hardware you need to put it on. I'm just using original screws, so for everything else except for these side pieces, if you can see there, it's got a bit of a kick and kicks inwards like that. I think that's gonna have to go on that side and the other one on the other side, like that sort of thing. I'm pretty sure the kick has got to kick inwards by the looks of it. Alright, I'm a bit of a nitwit. I'm gonna have to pull it back off because I cannot get anything in underneath there, so that's okay. 2-second job. Righto, that's it, and it looks like I did put it on the right way. So those two little kicks there, they just need to be facing inwards. Alright, now time to put my steering servo onto its bracket and then I'll put it back on the axle. Time to bolt it back onto my axle and back onto the car. Righto, front axle and steering servo on. I was just looking at this horn, and if I put that on there, it's just too long and my steering's going to get jammed up on it. I possibly could move it back, but this one here seems to work anyways, and this one also has bigger holes, so I'd need a screw with a nut on the back of it to be able to use that. So I'm just going to use this one. It gives me plenty of clearance and it goes with the style of the rig anyway, so I'm not too worried. To center your steering as much as you can, make sure that your steering trim on your controller is centered. Turn the controller on and then the car, and you'll hear the servo center out. I like to screw my steering arm to the servo horn first because it's easier to do it out here rather than in behind everything. There it is, got my steering horn on my steering shaft. Now I've just got to put it on my servo. Like I said, make sure everything's turned on and centered, and then get it as center as possible, your axle, and just push it on. Then screw it up. I'm not going to use thread lock for this one because hopefully I can put this on one day and this is only temporary. Now for the wheels. These are super sticky compound from Endura. The Kraken Claw, I believe they are 58mm, and they are a one directional tire, so make sure when you fit them up you've got them running the right way. I've got these fit up so they are reversed, deep dished, which will give my car a wider stance, teamed up with these 8mm hex extensions as well. Make sure when you're doing your wheel up that you don't do it up too tight. I've got plenty of play left in there still, so that's fine. I should probably be using thread lock on these too, but I couldn't be fucked. Last one. Alright, done. Let's take it on the course and see how it runs. Actually, before we go, that is awesome. Nothing against the E-Maxes, but I don't think we're going to have any dramas with steering. Oh my god, that's crazy. Look at the squish in the tyres. Hang on, I'll grab yours. Check this out. Right. So the squish. And they're sticky tyres too. And they're still able to turn. Alright, as you can see, my wheels aren't quite centre. That's because of the spline on the servo itself. So now just adjust it the tiniest bit so it is centre. Only slightly out of adjustment there, number one. I think that's pretty good. Let's take her out to the course and see how she runs. Alright, here we are, indoor track. I'm going to start here, might do a loop around the bottom, and then we'll head up around the top here and see how it goes. Shut your... Righto, here we are, indoor track. We'll take it around the outside here first, I think. All the way around and through this tunnel. And then let's take it up the steeper parts of it. This section here and this section here were the only parts of this track that this couldn't do until I extended the wheelbase. Let's see if the steering servos helped it out. Righto, here we go. Now, like I said, this bottom part really hasn't been a drama ever for this thing. I've never had it stock on here though. I built it after I started upgrading the car, so I'm not 100% sure on what a stock SCX is capable on here. One day I might put it on and see how it goes. I might get another one. There's no binding going on whatsoever with that steering servo. It's doing absolutely brilliant. The paint that I use for this is textured paint, so it is pretty hard on the steering, especially when you get yourself into a bind, and these really sticky tyres from Endura just grip too much, really. I actually can't believe that that made it through that tunnel so easily. That was pretty insane. Turning radius still isn't the best, but I think it is a little bit better than what it was before. and the wider stance of having these wheels turned back the other way is really helping with the off camber of some of these sections. Take it through here and then back up over the staircase. Oh. Not sure if you've seen that then, but my back driver's side tyre was hanging off of the edge pretty well there, and it stayed planted fairly good, which means that the servo, the weight of that metal servo up front has helped it immensely with the forward bias. That never has been able to do that before. Righto, come up and over this first, back down this first steep bit we'll go, underneath the bridge. Leave a comment if you think you got a good name for some of these sections on my course, like the bridge and the staircase. That's all I can really come up with, but I'm sure there's someone out there that's got a better name for them. A little bit of body rub there on the tyre as I was backing up at full flex there. That is insane. Take a look at this. I'm not sure, the camera doesn't really do it any justice, but that is some crazy angles that this thing is on right now. Alright, here we go through the mud pit. There's no mud in there at the moment, but one day I want to fill it up with them brown airsoft BBs, and it sort of acts like mud when the cars are driving through it, these mini crawlers. Righto, back down the other side and we'll head across here and up the biggest hill. This is the hill that it struggles the most with, but it does make it if you get the right line. Righto, let's see how it does. I'm thinking that the extra weight of the steering servo on the front, it should help us with the forward bias to get up here. Oh, got myself in a bit of a hole there. Like I said, you sort of really need to get the right line, or else it doesn't really want to make it. Here we go. That didn't really seem like much of a drama to me at all. Right, this bridge is a bit hairy going. They were all glued on there. Now some of them are loose. It does make it a bit interesting when you're going across there, but it's what wrecked me last time. I fell off of this bridge and got jammed into this tunnel here, and that's what wrecked the last servo and the dog bone on my axle. Let's see how it goes. We've slipped. Wonder if we can save it. No. that does not look good either. Alright, take two. We're a little bit high centered there, but we made it. Righto, this is the only other spot I'd ever really had dramas with. I think we'll do this one last line and finish the video off. And that wasn't a problem at all for the upgraded SCX 24. Yeah, well, there you have it, folks. If you didn't mind the content, or if you'd like to see more content, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification button. I might do a restoration on this track sometime in the future as well, because it definitely needs it. So that's something else to look forward to. I've got another couple videos lined up ready to come out in the next couple months, so we're pushing to get content out now. Righto, well, have a good one, keeps going Australia, and I'll see you next time. One last thing I wanted to add before I turn off here. I've just finished my intro, opened it up and felt everything, my motor, my gearbox. The ESC is the tiniest bit warm, but everything else is just stone cold still. Hey, I cannot believe I've been running this for like maybe 45 minutes now, and everything's beautiful still. Like, with that old steering servo in there, the ESC especially was overheating as well, and I think getting into binds all the time, the motor was working harder also. But another reason it could be is I have just pulled it apart and done a good clean on my axles and greased them all back up, so maybe that is the reason, or it could be a combination of both. Anyways, see you next time.